stop obsessing about calories. There's never been any long-term study showing that calorie counting is an effective way to lose weight and maintain weight loss. It's virtually impossible, even professionals, to count calories.
You mentioned calories there as well, when you were talking about the microbiome. One of my friends is a prolific calorie counter. And, he eats a lot of Domino's pizzas. He listens to this podcast, so he's going to know exactly. He's going to know that I'm atting him. He eats Domino's pizzas all the time. He eats like a real, processed food diet, but then says to me it's all about calorie counting. Now, with all due respect, friend, he's never managed to, I shouldn't say that, but it's not necessarily worked for him in terms of the goal that he set himself. So when I was reading about your view on calorie counting in your book Spoon-Fed, I screenshotted it this morning and sent it to him, and I said, "You are a bullshitter." That's what I said in the message, and we had a good laugh about it this morning. But what is your view on calorie counting and this idea that we can, weight loss or being healthy is just about having a calorie deficit?
It's complete nonsense.
Thank you. I will clip that and send it to him.
There's never been any long-term study showing that calorie counting is an effective way to lose weight and maintain weight loss after the first few weeks. So yes, very strict calorie counting. If you deprive yourself for a few weeks, you will lose some weight. But even if you're successful, your body's evolutionary mechanisms will make you hungry and hungrier every week you go by where you're depriving yourself of energy. Your body will go into sort of shutdown mode, your metabolism slows down, so you're not expending those calories. And inevitably, I'd say more than 95% of people will go back to their baseline, and many go above it. They sort of rebound back if they're doing this style of calorie restriction. Now, calorie counting is a part of that, so people try and say, okay, I'm not going on a dramatic diet, but I'm going to just try and reduce by 10% my calories in the day, which in the old theory was supposed to make you lose weight. Well, it's virtually impossible, even professionals, to count calories. And because they're not very accurate for a start, everything on the packet, you have to weigh everything. And in restaurants now, we're supposed to have these calorie counts. They're plus or minus about 30%, because portion size makes such a huge difference to it that and it's been shown in the US to be a worthless exercise anyway. So you can't count them going in. You can't really count your metabolism going out either. We're all incredibly different. Your friend's probably been told 2,500 calories is what he's allowed. Mm. Well, that's an average, but it doesn't mean it's related to him. My average is much lower when I tested it. So everyone is an individual, and this is another thing we need to move away from this one-size-fits-all guidelines. But I think more importantly is that the whole calorie counting assumption means that it doesn't matter what form that calorie is, it has the same effect on your body. Therefore, whether you're cutting out fat calories or carb calories or, low-calorie sodas or whatever it is, it's going to be fine. But we now know that's not true. And there's several science experiments which now absolutely nail that. One was in America, where they gave people identical meals for 2 weeks in a sort of enclosed semi-prison. And one was homemade and one was ultra-processed, both identical calories, macros the same. The group with the ultra-processed foods overate by about 200 calories every day. They kept coming back to the buffet for more. Okay, so yes, the same calories, but the effect on the body meant they were hungrier.
Why is that?
We don't know for sure. It could be that those chemicals in the ultra-processed foods affect the gut microbes, and they then send signals to the brain saying, eat more, this isn't a natural, this is a really weird chemical, it's doing something weird to me, I'm producing something weird in exchange. It could be that they get absorbed much quicker, so you get a big sugar rush, and the nutrients get in to your body in a way faster than they should do in nature, and so your brain doesn't have time to say, I'm full. It normally takes 20 minutes or so to get that fullness. Or, it could be the matrix of the food, it could be the chemicals in the food, it could be its effect on the gut microbes. But it also could be things like your sugar spikes. So in the Zoe Predict studies, where basically we've given now 50,000 people in the US and the UK the same foods at the same time of day, everyone's got these muffins. We show that people, 1 in 4 people who have these muffins and are wearing it, we wear glucose monitors, which tells you for 2 weeks what's happening in your glucose. 1 in 4 people get a real sugar dip 3 hours later. So this is where you rise in sugar, which is normal, and then as it comes down, it goes below baseline. But only in 1 in 4 people. And when that happens, those people end up overeating their next meal, and during the day, they feel more tired, more hungry. That's the sort of 11 o'clock slump, if you like. If you've had a carby breakfast, some people feel that, others don't. And what's really interesting is that, so 1 in 4 people eating an identical muffin of identical calories will then overeat by this, another 10% that day. So you can see how that just blows the calorie idea out, that the calories in equals calories out, everything's the same. And the third thing is that ultra-processed food says it has the calories that's equal to the whole foods, but often they don't account for the fact that it's ground up, it's highly refined. And so if you take like almonds or something like this, they might use ground almonds, and you compare ground almonds to whole almonds, there's perhaps 30% less available calories in the whole almonds than there is in the other ones. So the whole thing is a complete nonsense, and it's there because the food industry wants you to focus on the calorie, the fat content, sugar, so you don't have to think about the quality of the food. And it's something that they can control very easily, get their profits higher, keep adding stuff to the product that's synthetic, when we know that a lot of things they're adding are harmful for our gut microbes. So that the artificial sweeteners are harmful, the glues, they stick the foods together, the emulsifiers, some people react quite a lot to those and they cause problems. So the whole thing is like this giant camouflage. And that's really one thing probably my number one bugbear is to get people to see the light, stop obsessing about calories, and start thinking about food much more as quality and what it does to your body.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.